Today we're going to make bristle bots. And you can see I have my parts laid out in front of me here. I'm going to show you what those parts are, and I'm going to show you how to put this together. And then we're going to make a video of some of the things that you can do with these bristle bots. So the first thing that you need is this bristle. It's like a toothbrush bristle, but we're not going to use it on our teeth. We're going to use it as sort of legs for our bristle bot. It's going to go like that, and it's going to move around on its own using a simple little motor. We also have some two-sided tape, and you can see it's got backing on both sides to keep it from sticking before we're ready for it to stick. So we can peel the backing off one side, and then we can peel the backing off the other side when we're ready for that. We also have what's called a vibration motor. And so this is a small little motor that you might find in a toothbrush, and you can see that the end of it here is not round. It's just a half circle. And that's going to create the vibration as it spins around. It's going to be weighted in different directions, and it's going to move our bristle bot around, and that's what's going to create the motion. In order to make that motor work, we have what's called a button cell battery. And so these batteries actually have two sides. One is the positive, and we can see there's a little plus sign on one side, and that means the other side is negative. For this project, it doesn't really matter which side is positive and negative because the motor will work either way. We're going to use a couple of half pipe cleaners, and I've picked white and purple, but you can pick different combinations of colors. And of course, no bristle bot will be finished without a set of googly eyes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our set of bristles, and we're going to take our double-sided tape, and I'm going to peel one part of the backing off. Not both, because I don't want it to stick to everything quite yet. It'll be easier to work with if I just take off one. I'm going to find this flat edge, this slightly flat edge of the bristles here. You can see one end is kind of curved and one end is kind of flat. And I'm going to put the tape towards the back end, that flat end of the bristles. And I'm going to push it on and get it on there nice and solid. Don't want it coming off. Now that I have that stuck on there, I can take the other piece of backing off. Just got to get a fingernail under one corner, and then we can peel it off like that. Now this is sticky, so you don't want to drop it or stick it to anything because this stuff is pretty solid tape. It's going to be want to stick to everything that it comes in contact with. But what we're going to stick onto it is our motor, and what we're going to do is stick the sort of spinny part of the motor so that it is nice and clear of the back. We don't want to put it in the middle because then it's going to stick to the tape and that part's not going to spin. We want to stick to this large cylinder while leaving this small spinny bit free. So I'm going to bring it here and stick it there, and you can see that the spinny bit of the motor is nice and free while the cylinder is stuck to the tape and is not going to go anywhere. Now I have two wires that go into my motor, and I'm going to take one of them. It really doesn't matter whether it's the blue or the red, and I'm going to kind of stick it onto the tape towards the middle of my bristle bot right there, and that's going to hold it in place. Okay, so that's in place. Now I'm going to take my battery, and I'm going to, again, doesn't really matter which side goes where, but I'm going to put this sort of side that has a little texture to it. It's got like a little grid texture to it. See if I can get that focused. I'm going to put that down so that I have the flat surface that has the plus on it facing up. And I'm going to stick that onto the battery. And now my wire is going to be stuck in between the battery and the tape, and that's going to make contact with half of the battery. And the other wire, when I touch it to the top of the battery, should start the motor. So let's find out. If I do this, here's my motor. We're going to see if you can see it going there. When I release it, and this is what's going to make the bristle bot work. Now, we need some kind of switch because we don't want to just leave this thing running all the time. So I'm just going to use a piece of tape, and I'm going to stick it onto my wire. And when I want my bristle bot to go, I'm just going to tape that down to the battery, and off it'll go. Now this won't work super well as it is right now because it's a pretty powerful little vibration motor, and you can see my BristleBot doesn't want to stand up straight and kind of goes a little haywire. So I'm gonna take that. We need to add some stability to this thing. And so this is where the pipe cleaners come in. You think most bugs have legs that, you know, stick out to the sides, and that gives them a lot of stability, particularly if you've ever seen water striders that float on the water. They have legs that stick way out to the sides, which spreads out their motion and spreads out their weight so that they're much more stable. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take these two pipe cleaners and turn them into legs. Now, as we get more specific with this, you can start customizing. You can add more legs, or you can change the legs to do different things. But right now, we just need something to spread out to the sides like an outrigger canoe that's going to allow this thing to stand up when it goes into motion. So I'm going to put one of my pipe cleaners on the top in between the motor and the battery, and I'm going to let it stick down onto the tape. And on the bottom of my toothbrush here, you can see there's kind of a little open space in the middle, and that's where I'm going to put my other pipe cleaner. Now again, there's lots of ways that you can do this. You just need these things to be stable, and you need them to go off to the edges. But what I'm going to do now that I have one on the top and one on the bottom, I'm going to twist the pipe cleaners together so that they are going to hold themselves in place. So I twist them together like that. And on the other side, I'm going to twist them together like that. And now I have these little legs. And when I set it down, I can start playing with the legs to make sure that they're kind of touching the ground or close to it. If most of your weight is on the center bristles, that's going to have your BristleBot act in one way. If most of your weight is on these pipe cleaner legs, that's going to have it act in a different way. And so you get to sort of mess around with it until it moves in the way that you want it to. You can have your legs kind of be pinched together and kind of close, or you can spread them out and have them to the front and the back. It's really up to you at this point what you want it to look like and how you want it to work. And the only way that you're going to know how it works, depending on how you put your legs on there, is to actually get it going here. So I'm going to put my tape down, and here he goes. You can see he's kind of moving in a pretty circular fashion. So if I take him and maybe I'll spread his legs out a little wider, we'll see what happens there. Now he's just kind of spinning. He's a dancing BristleBot. So depending on how many legs and how you have your legs set up, your BristleBot is going to act in different ways. Now there's one critical piece left, and that is no BristleBot is complete without googly eyes. So these things also have a little peel off backing, which is a little tricky to get a hold of, but once you do, it peels off pretty easily. And I'm going to stick one here. Take my other one. And again, working to just get that ready to peel up. There's my other one. And here is my BristleBot. Ready for some action.